Well, hello there, and welcome to the channel Concerned Citizen. Today, we're going to be delving into the critical and often unsettling topic that is the role of fake news, propaganda, false narratives, etc., in warfare. As you know, in an era where information is power, understanding how these elements are used in warfare is absolutely essential. And before we dive into the actual contents of the video, let me just introduce myself because most of you who are watching this probably have no idea who I am. And I also want to talk about the goals of the channel, like in general. It's going to be an oversimplification, but you know. So basically, I am Steve, and I'm a resident of the Churachandpur district, as you might know, although we prefer to call it Lamka, of the war-torn state of Manipur, India. And some of you might have known that my tiny little state in the northeastern part of India has seen a lot of bloodshed in the last 6 months or so. And it's just, to call it acts of brutal, barbaric, inhumane violence would be an understatement. I'll be honest, guys. It is, because it is. That's just facts. And as the channel name suggests, I'm nothing but a concerned citizen. I'm just a guy. I have no, qualifications. I'm not an expert. I'm just a guy asking questions, trying to bring logic into some narratives and all that, right? So yeah, basically we're going to be talking about certain things that a lot of people are either too ignorant, too scared, or too blind to talk about or to acknowledge. And yeah, I know by doing this, by making this video, I'm probably gonna paint a target on my back, but I've made my peace with it because I cannot just sit at home, on my couch and relax while my brothers, my sisters, my fathers, my mothers are suffering, homeless, or even occasionally dying. And yeah, like as a human being, on an individual level, there's very little I can do, close to nothing. But I want to contribute my part. I want to do what I can to help out, no matter how small. So yeah, that's pretty much the goal of the channel. And I also want to inform you that in case you have no idea what this video is about, I'm going to explain. Don't worry about that because I'm going to explain the whole shebang later on. So yeah, that's basically it. And this picture that you see on the screen right now, that is the book, The Inevitable Split, jointly put forward by the ZSF, which is the Zomi Students Federation in Lamka, and the Kuki Students Organization, KSO. So, and also, by the way, I'll be linking the file, the PDF file, in the description of the video. So make sure you check that out. Okay, they have a pretty detailed collection of everything that's been going on. Okay, and they have a volume 2. This is volume 1. I'm gonna try to link the second one as well. So yeah, guys, I'm not going to be talking about each and every single incident that has happened in the past, or, all the press release, all the videos that have been released. I'm not going to be reacting to all of them. But in this video specifically, I want to break the fake, you might call it, on a few major narratives from the Meitei community. And before we move on, I just want to clarify, I'm not anti-Meitei. I don't hate Meitei as a community at all, okay? I just want to make that clear. Yeah, I mean, I literally have friends. I still have friends that I talk to, like literally last night. So I'm just trying to bring some sense and logic into the stupid agendas and propaganda, that's all. I don't have time to hate a certain community, if you know what I mean. So yeah, guys, let's talk into the number one most common. You might have heard this if you're in India. Kuki narco terrorism. Let's dive into that topic. As you can see in this picture right here. Oh, I'm sorry, I hit my microphone right there. As you can see in this picture right here, there's a bunch of Meitei Imas. Ima means mother in Meitei Lon. So they are conducting a mass rally against Chin Kuki narco terrorism. So basically, what they're branding the whole entire ethnic community of the Kukis as narco terrorists. And when I say Kuki, if you're not familiar with the word Kuki, it's an amalgamation. Well, not an amalgamation. It's like an umbrella term for a lot of the tribes living in Manipur, including me. Personally, I'm Paite, so I kind of identify myself as a Zomi. But if someone from outside the state calls me a Kuki, like, absolutely, I accept that. Okay, so it includes different tribes like Paite, Tado, Gangte, Vaipei, Mar, Mizo, all of that. Okay, so what is wrong with this image, with this rally? First off, you cannot brand a whole community as narco terrorists, and I'll explain. So let's talk about geography for a moment. The state of Manipur lies right next to it, like literally adjacent to Myanmar. And the border is more or less very porous, meaning a lot of things come in, a lot of things go out. You will see that especially in towns like Moreh, for example, where there's a lot of business, there's a lot of trading going on. Okay? And Myanmar, as you know, is, how should I say this? It's pretty well known for its drug trafficking and drug production, especially drugs like heroin and meth. So it's not a secret that a lot of people are indeed involved in drug trafficking. Okay, and anyone, whether it's he or she is from the Meitei community or from the Kuki Zomi community, if anyone denies that there is, very less drug trafficking, drug smuggling going on, that person is probably lying. Okay, so it's a pretty well-known fact that Manipur has unfortunately become sort of a center or a hub for narco smuggling, if you want to call it that. Okay, so with that said, pretty much like literally every other country in the world, there is a drug trade. Of course, there is. Nobody's denying that. But are we the only ones involved? Are the Kuki, Zomi, Mar communities the only ones involved in this drug trade? No. Hell no. If you look at the numbers and statistics, a lot of the so-called kingpins of the drug trade mostly come from the valley. And this is not something that I made up. Like a simple Google search will tell you the answer, okay? And I'm not trying to like ostracize a specific community because of that. All I'm saying is everyone is involved, okay? Whether it's the Nagas, the Meiteis, the Kukis, Tado, Paite, Vaipei, whatever, okay? So yeah, guys, with that said, pretty much like every other country in the world, there's no denying the fact that drug smuggling and, like narco traders, if you want to call them that, exist here. Let's take an example of a few other countries. Let's say Afghanistan, for example, the number one producer of opium, right? At one point, they produced like, I don't know, like 95% of the total opium produced in the world. But can you call like the people of Afghanistan like narco terrorists just because of the fact that their country produces the majority of opium or heroin in the world? No. Or let's say Latin American countries, let's say Mexico, for example, where cartel activity is like rampant, right? There's a lot of, in Sinaloa, Michoacan, Tamaulipas, Jalisco, like there's a lot of different cartels. Gulf Cartel, Sinaloa Cartel, CJNG, Los Tlacos, Los Viagras. There's a lot of them. But you cannot say that the Mexicans are narco terrorists just because a few thousand of them are involved in the drug trade. So that's what I wanted to talk about. Like, how stupid do you have to be to brand an entire community of people as narco terrorists? just because a few thousand people are involved. That's totally wrong and inaccurate. All right. So yeah, there's a lot more, like news articles and different uh, blog posts or newspaper articles on this. If you want to research it by yourself, we cannot cover everything on a single video. All right. So I assume and I hope you're gonna do that research by yourself. Okay, so now I'm hoping that, like I said, you're gonna do a little bit of research by yourself, because there is no way that I can cover like every single detail in just one short video. All right, so moving on to the next narrative, which is illegal immigrants or illegal immigration, okay, or Burmese or Myanmarese immigrants. So let's get on to that. Before that, let me just ask Google. All right. So yeah, just how rampant is the illegal immigration or the problem of immigration in Manipur? There you go. As you can see on your screen, I Googled how many immigrants in Manipur, and the official statement is over 2,000 illegal immigrants from Myanmar in Manipur, government report. According to the IGP's report, 2,480 illegal immigrants or refugees from Myanmar were detected, of which 1,147 were in Tangnopal, which is a district in Manipur, 1,175 in Chandel, also another district, 154 in Churachandpur, which is my district, and 4 in Kamjong, and none in Perizol district. So I've seen hundreds, if not thousands, of news articles, social media posts from the other community claiming that, oh, these are kooky illegal immigrants, like you see it literally every single day. But just how accurate is that? Well, according to Google and according to the government reports, not so accurate, right? So the population of the Kuki Zomihmar communities in Manipur is roughly 16% of the total population, which is roughly slightly under 300,000. Oh, I'm sorry, slightly under 3 million. The population of Manipur is slightly under 3 million. So 16% of that would mean roughly 450,000 to 500,000. Okay, so that means out of the 500,000-ish settlers of people from my community, about 2,000 of them are refugees coming in from Myanmar. And one thing you should note is they're not coming here to cause trouble. They're literally fleeing their homes in Myanmar because of the military junta, because of the extreme, like, brutality, militaristic oppression that they're facing. I mean, their houses were bombed. They are being ruthlessly killed, murdered, like tortured, beheaded, what have you. Like, it's just insane what is happening in Myanmar. And they're fleeing their homes, most of them temporarily, for, to seek shelter, to seek safety. So they're not coming here to cause, political turmoil or whatever. They're coming here for survival, because they don't, in short, they don't want to die. That's the only reason they're coming here. And again, to generalize an entire community and call them illegal immigrants because there's a few thousand of them trying to escape the brutal militaristic rule oppression in Myanmar is very, very wrong. Like, I'm not a math expert, but 2,000 people out of 500,000, that's like less than 0.5% of the population. So basically what the other community is doing is calling us illegal immigrants because less than 0.5% of our population are immigrants, which, if you think about it, if you bring some logic and sense into it, it's downright stupid. I mean, I'm sorry for having to use this word, but it is. Like, it doesn't even make sense at all, you know? but you see it every day in the news, in the whether it's the local news, sometimes even on national news, on Twitter or X, as it is now called, Instagram Reels, like Facebook posts, YouTube videos, etc., etc. So yeah, just a quick Google search will tell you just how wrong that narrative is. And these are not, again, these numbers, like 2000, it's not something that I came up with. This is an actual government report. So unless you're saying that the government is wrong, you're not reporting the whole thing. So unless you're trying to accuse the government of taking sides with the cookie community, then yeah, you're just plain wrong. That's it. Nothing else. Like nothing else needs to be said. Okay. And also, I want to talk a little bit more about my hometown, Churachandpur, because it's where I live. I physically live there right now. So yeah, as you can see on the screen, the total Churachandpur district population living in rural areas is 255,786, of which males and females are 129,659 and 126,127 respectively. And in the previous data that we have, it said that there are 154 illegal immigrants in Churachandpur district, or Lamka, which, if you think about it, it's such a small percentage. Like out of 255,786 people, 154 of them are from Myanmar, are Myanmar nationals. So for the other community to accuse us of being illegal immigrants based off of, 154 out of 255,000, that's just insane. It's just like, bro, really? And the thing is, we, the people from Lamka, are, and by the way, I'm going to use Churachandpur and Lamka interchangeably because that's just how we call it, okay? And yeah, we are and our district, Lamka, is the one, like their main target, if you want to call it, when it comes to illegal immigration. They're basically saying, people from Churachandpur are all illegal immigrants. They came in from that border, blah, 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 after 2021. You can see it everywhere. If you just search, if you just search a little bit about the conflict that's going on right now, you're going to see tons and tons of articles claiming that there's thousands, even hundreds of thousands of illegal immigrants living in Churachandpur, while in fact the official government report says 154, which is, it's basically like the sun and the moon, like that's how far apart these statistics and accusations are. The statistics being the government report and the accusations being, the narrative that's going on. And moving on to the next narrative is that so you got to understand that the Métis, as I've mentioned, are the majority in the community. They comprise of about roughly 55-ish% of the entire population of Manipur, while we occupy right around 16%, and the rest are like Nagas and a few, like Nepali Gurkhas and all of that. So another talking point from the Métis is that the tribals are occupying, 90% of the land, and most of the people, the majority, are occupying only 10% of the land. In a way, that's true. Yeah, I agree. Absolutely. But there's a but. Out of the 90% of the land area that the tribals occupy, most of them are inhabitable, as in it's, most of them are huge forest areas. And as you can see on the screen right now, where my cursor is at, the red part, that's basically the valley, the Imphal Valley, Imphal East, Imphal West, Bishnupur, you have it. And, it's, the valley is the most fertile, the most productive place in the whole entire geography of Manipur. Okay, and going back to the 90%, yes, it's true. We do occupy 90% of the land, but it's not just cookies or the Kukizumi Mars who occupy this 90% of the land. It is split between the Kukis and the Nagas. And the Nagas occupy, pretty much like 50% of that 90%, and we occupy around 50% of that 90%. So, to point the finger at the cookies for occupying 90% of the land, that's totally wrong again. And as I've mentioned before, a lot of the landmass is, if you just Google images of any village in, let's say, in my district, in Lamka, Churachandpur, it's going to be pretty much like rocky mountain cliffs or huge rivers, thick vegetation, like really dense forest outgrowth. So, yeah, I mean, you can try and live there if you want, but you're going to have a hard time getting daily supplies, food, electricity, basic necessities for everyday life, right? And also the most of the infrastructure, the facilities, big companies, medical schools, whatever, are located in the valley regions. There is pretty much, I mean, I won't say that there's nothing in the hills, but it's just, the geography itself, it's not really suitable for major development. Okay, so although we, the tribals, occupy 90% of the land shared between Nagas and the Kukis, although we occupy a vast, like I said, 90% of the land, there's nothing. Like, apart from vegetation, flora, and fauna, there's nothing. People are making bare minimum wage, a lot of us. Okay? So, someone who's not aware of the demographics, or, who's not aware of how Manipur actually is and how it looks and the geography of everything, it might occur to you that, oh, it's justified. Of course, the Métis are gonna get angry. They only got like 10% of the land area. But if you actually come here, if you say, for example, let's see how long you're gonna last in a village like, I don't know, Hanship or Bungpilon or Suangdo, for example, and compare that to, let's say, Keishampat. Okay, compare that to Langol. Like, look at the level of development. Okay, I'm gonna put pictures of like the villages and communities that I've mentioned. Okay, so don't worry about it. It's gonna be on the screen. All right. So yeah, that's basically it. Although we have more in terms of land area, we have close to nothing in terms of when you compare the development and the facilities and the infrastructures that are being pumped into each respective region, the valley and the hills. All right. And one more thing, I want to show you the allocated budget, basically the money allocated to the hills and the valleys, and you will see exactly what I mean. So yeah, as you can see on the screen right there, Manipur budget allocation, the year, it's a little bit blur, but it's 2017 in crore. Crore is, it's basically the Indian numeral system, counting system. 1 crore is 10 million. Okay, so keep that in mind. 1 crore is 10 million. So in crore, rupees 5,000 is allocated to Manipur, like overall, right? In valleys, out of that 5,000, in valleys, 4,892 crores are allocated in the valley, in that 10% of the land area. Okay, and in the hills, which is 90% of the land mass, 108 crores are allocated. So do you see the difference? In 2018, 4,900 crores are allocated to Manipur, out of which 4,750 are for the valley, and 150 crores only is allocated for the hills. And in 2019, same thing, roughly. In 2020, 7,000 crores are allocated. Wow, this is the sharpest difference I've seen. So in 2020, 7,000 crores are allocated for Manipur, out of which 6,959 crores are supposed to go to the valleys, and 41 crores only, just 41 crores are allocated for the hills. So now tell me, as you can see it literally right there, land distribution, hills 90%, of course that's true, and valley 10%. Manipur population, hills 40%, valley 60%. MLA representation, hills 20%, valley 40%. And they don't mention it here exactly, but from the given data, it's absolutely evident that the hills get a fraction, less than a fraction of whether it's in terms of, as I've mentioned, facility, infrastructure, money, monetary budget, everything, like health services, you name it. Like, we don't have it. I mean, it's embarrassing to say it, but we're just very, very underdeveloped. And to attack a community, calling them narco-terrorists, calling them illegal immigrants, calling them land grabbers, how brainwashed do you have to be to have the audacity to do that? That's my question, And I guess I'm gonna end with that for this video. And if I have made a mistake, please let me know, instead of writing hate comments or even sending me death threats or whatever, because it has happened in the past to different people. A lot of people have been, they have court cases against them just because they spoke out the truth. So if I make a mistake, if there's an error in my data or whatever, just let me know and I'll fix it. I'm an open guy. Like, if you want to debate with me, fine, let's do it. But, don't try to hide the truth from coming out. That's all I'm asking. Okay? And another really, really important note that I want to make is, although this is my first video, I want to open up a donation channel, if you will, for the displaced people, the people at the front lines, the displaced children who could not afford to study. By now, I think there's right around 65,000-70,000 people who are internally displaced, homeless. Their homes have been burned, razed to the ground. Their houses are now in ashes, So they have nothing but the clothes on their backs, basically, like nothing, like less than nothing. Okay. So I know this is a lot to ask, especially, like I said, this is my first video and all, but if you have a heart, if you have some compassion, if you have faith in humanity, please, I'm going to link my personal bank account for now, but in the future, I might get in touch with some, leader from some organization, and maybe we can set up a new banking account specifically for this. But for now, since we don't have it, I'm going to link my UPI ID or my bank account details. And if you want to help out, okay, please do, because I've seen dozens and hundreds of people who are just, they have to leave their homes. They are now jobless. They have children to feed. They have mouths to feed. They have to take care of their health, both physical, mental, as well as emotional. So, and right now they're living in relief camps, and the condition of these camps are subpar. To call it subpar would be a huge understatement, okay? So please, please, please consider donating. Every dollar, every rupee, every pound, every euro helps out a lot, okay? So yeah, please consider donating. There's no such thing as too little, like 1 rupee, 5 rupee, 10 rupees. It goes a long way into helping these internally displaced people with nothing, with basically no possession, no belongings. If you can feed them for a day, if you can, buy them a cup of coffee, that's better than nothing, right? So yeah, please do consider donating for the cause. And in the future videos, we're going to talk a lot more and in-depth detail about the different, the multiple incidences that have happened in the last 6 months. So with this, I'm going to wind up the video, and hopefully I will try to upload videos as regular as I can, but I'm still a college student, so I don't have a lot of time on my hands. But yeah, I will do what I can. I will try my best, and please stay in touch. Like, comment, share, subscribe, you know the drill. So yeah, that's it for now. And until next time, I'll see you guys, and take care. Don't buy into BS propaganda. Stay smart. Ciao, ciao.